Okay. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. So welcome everybody, and thank you very much for taking this time to attend the EMEA Go-to-Market Trail to Customer Value Manager session. The objectives of today is that prior to the global individual contributors launch on Monday, is that all your go-to-market, all of you as go-to-market leaders, can ensure everyone understands the why and the what of the non-negotiables, so you can confidently reinforce and coach this consistently with your teams. What also this means in context of the EMEA customer value journey, and Gregory is going to take you through that. And then I'll go through the enablement plan and then what the next steps are, starting from Monday onwards. And we'll try and ensure we've got some time for questions and comments, following obviously the mid-year refresh. I'm sure you've had a chance to digest this all, but it's important that you go away and you are happy with being able to coach and reinforce this with your teams. So now is the opportunity to ask any last questions you have before we move forward with the global enablement plan on Monday. So with that, I'm going to pass over to Todd, who's going to talk about the why and the what of the non-negotiables and the customer value journey. Thanks, Todd.
Great. Thanks, Matt. And thanks, Gregory, for the continued leadership on this. I know it seems like a long time ago that we're all together in Amsterdam, but it really wasn't that long ago. And the enablement team and others have been spending quite a bit of time getting everything ready for the official launch on Monday. So just wanted to spend a little time refreshing everyone's, no pun intended, refreshing everyone's mind on what we did in Amsterdam, from the trail markers to the customer journey, and changing the mindset that what you see in front of us, sometimes we get really caught up in the wins, right? And we want to celebrate the wins. But at the end of the day, as a land and expand strategy company, we have to take those initials and really focus on the next slide, which is the longer journey, this path to customer value. You want to advance slides, Matt?
Sure.
Thank you. To be able to look and say this is really a life cycle, it's an effort, it's a team effort that we're all trying to drive ultimately the North Star, which is the customer value. We have over 500 people on the go-to-market team, and if we all look at this the correct way, the success will take care of itself. So if we go to the next slide. This hopefully will refresh everyone's memory, the trail markers. And when we go through these, and when I go through the enablement plan, and Gregory will also reinforce this, remember, we're here as leaders to coach our teams. There's several hundred people out there that this will be the first time they see this. We want to make sure that they understand the importance of them, understand that many of these are not new. A lot of these should be very, very familiar. These are already in place. These are already part of our motions. What we're trying to do is enhance in certain areas, double down in certain areas, and also add some things that will allow this to flow more naturally from a customer value perspective. So the trail markers, descriptions of each one of these, we don't have to spend time this morning to go through them. But remember that it's not about pre-sales and post-sales. Yes, we like to use that term. It's really, at the end of the day, it's to make everyone work more efficiently and effectively out in the field, but also the value ultimately that the customer is going to receive if we work together as a go-to-market organization. If you go to the next slide. Next slide. Thank you. There you go. This is a slide. This is a one-pager that many people are going to get used to. In fact, we're investing in getting a laminated two-pager, one with the joint engagement model and the other one with the one-pager of non-negotiables out into everybody's hands, something that we can carry in our backpacks, have on our desk. But a big piece of this is sometimes they can look and say 18 non-negotiables. Remember, those 18 non-negotiables are spread over the 500 go-to-market professionals that are out in the field, and many are already happening, as I said before. We want to make sure that all of these too aren't perceived to be in silos. Many of these evolve. Many of these, as we say, are tethered together. For instance, if we do well in Trail Marker 1 and Trail Marker 2, the executive summary naturally happens, but we need to take a time and make sure that it's polished up and presentable from a board-ready collateral. Our team is going to be working on highlighting how many of these are interrelated, how effectively they can be done if we do well on the trail marker 1, 2, 3, how things happen better in trail marker 4, 5, and 6. We're looking to try to have a climbing rope. I challenged the team yesterday. It'd be great to see like a climbing rope or a carabiner and how some of these are threaded together and how we can get behind them. And we understand that this all makes all of our jobs easier if we look at it as a team perspective rather than an individual team or a siloed individual inside of one of these non-negotiables. So this will be a backdrop, not just for moving into Q4, but the goal is to have all this operational where it becomes more muscle memory as we move into FY25. But again, as leaders, as coaches in the field, we're going to be spending quite a bit of time enabling every non-negotiable, and we need everybody's help to understand what it is and why it's critical, and then why it's critical to the other aspects where it's the 1 + 1 = 3. The whole is going to be so much greater than the sum of the pieces if we execute these correctly. Next slide. In fact, one that many people are excited about, and it's a net new, although many of these are not net new to our efforts. Some of them are the path to value meeting and the path to value document. I saw Elena out there. Elena and I caught up earlier this week, and the customer success team is actually going to have their own enablement session for the path to value non-negotiable on November 7th. So even though the field will see it in order when you see the timeline early in December, it's so critical. We have to get the customer success team ramped up on this, where also we can be able to apply some of this to the Q3 business. So we're going to be elevating some of these. Some of these are more mature than others, but it's a great example to make sure that we all hold a certain level of responsibility and accountability to activate these. And it's not just on the customer success side on the path to value. What can the sales side, the revenue team, the pre-sales team, the sales engineering team also help in this area? So again, some of these are going to be new to the field. We want to make sure that we highlight those and we coach them up appropriately. Next slide. So with that, that was just a quick summary, quick recap. Hopefully everybody remembers the time we spent in Amsterdam, not just the wonderful boat dinner we had, but also the criticality of everything that we're going to be launching and doing over the next 6 to 8 weeks. So with that, I want to hand the mic over to Gregory to add some additional EMEA lens to everything. And in advance, thank everyone's time and effort over the next several weeks to make this be activated in the field.
Thank you, Todd. Before we get into the examples, so what we're doing today is just reinforcing, as you said, everything that we've been presenting in Amsterdam. And before we roll out to the team, we wanted to come to get together this afternoon to make sure we are all clear on the why and the what before we jump into the how. Let's make it clear. It's about working better together to drive customer value in a better way, in a more efficient way, and potentially also faster, so we can drive adoptions and we can drive upsell and we can drive success. It doesn't mean that we haven't been able to do that. Obviously, we've been able to do that in the past, and most of the teams are working well together, but maybe in a very organic way. So what we're trying to achieve all together is document what needs to be done consistently, what needs to be documented consistently, so we can build a repeatable machines. So now we can move to the next slide. We do have some examples. So we could have a slide with potentially 20 different customers. We pick 2 here that are recent or less recent examples. But for instance, EGA in Dubai, for those that are very familiar with this account, we land this account just about a year ago. Within 6 months, all the teams, all the go-to-market teams working together, basically managed to get a customer investing into Dataiku in a project to replace Data Robot. And we built a very clear project with a customer that was very well marked and very well driven. So we did help the customer moving away from Data Robot actually faster than expected, moving their use case to Dataiku faster than expected, and deliver value faster than expected. So we had actually a very happy customer that did congratulate herself. And as a matter of fact, we had a champion that got promoted to a bigger role because the project was very well conducted. So that's exactly what we want to duplicate. Société Générale is also a very great story. When we landed a few years ago, and after all working together toward white spacing, documenting the value consistently, to more and more group. We managed to get Societe Generale to one of the biggest customers we have in South, and really establishing Dataiku as the group platform. So again, it's nothing fundamentally new. It's just right now we need to make it repeatable. So that's the segue to the next slide that you have seen in Amsterdam about a month ago. What we're really trying to achieve now altogether is to drive the customer value with a better focus, more repeatability, and simplicity for all the leaders. Just a quick remark. So the terms non-negotiable is circulating a lot, and potentially it's a bit of confusion of what we heard by non-negotiable. I want to be clear. I want here to be very clear that non-negotiable is not. It should not be understood by it's a top-down call to actions, or it's just a Dataiku management asking something new to the teams. It's actually something that we need to agree all together that we need to do consistently. So we are all accountable to each other, and each team contributes to driving the maximum value of the customer. So we are non-negotiable from one team to the next. Non-negotiable actions and document that one team needs to do to help other teams execute. So it's really about stacking hands at what go-to-market teams to provide the customer with one experience, and to provide with the customer with the best possible journey to realize this value. This is what we mean by non-negotiable, because there should be no exceptions on the way we work together. So it's really us as teams, integrated team, I would say, to stack hands on this way to work, and this way to document our work from a very repeatable, trackable, and inspectable way. So that's really the message I want to push to you. So, and we want to push to all teams. So we all agree together on this principle. Because basically, if we go to the next slide, Matt, it's really, this slide. I think the picture speaks for itself. It's really getting all functions working better and operating better together, and getting away to some silos that we see sometimes, because a team should not be isolated in driving this value. While we have all functions contributing to the customer value, no team is isolated. We are part of one bigger executing machines, where each team move forward, to another in the customer journey. So every team actions, every team non-negotiable is actually serving the entire selling machines, I would say, adoption machines and upsell machine. So when we think back of everything we said in the media refresh, again, think about the importance of all these functions in a customer value journey that need to work together. So sales are accountable toward sales engineers. Sales engineers are accountable toward CSM. CSM are also accountable toward partnerships, etc., etc. Documenting, working together to provide one customer experience, and again, increase their ability to drive value faster. So while we work basically together, and you know me, it's very something that I've been communicating a lot about, working as one team, one go-to-market team to avoid silos. At the same time, there is something for everyone. Basically, this way of working should benefits to every team. So for the sales teams and for you, the sales leader, those trails marker should really help everyone to the sales team, I would say the AEs, to get more empowers when it comes to the closing phase and to the negotiating phase, because we will have clearly identified the value, clearly identified the trail to success. We will come with well-identified implementation project when a customer can better identify the time it will take to actually get the value. And we've seen in many occasions when there is no decisions or lack of decision is because there is no compelling event, or there is no momentum, or the customer is not sure how long it will take basically to get the initial value after a phase one. So that's extremely important. And we will also be better armed with the right information to accelerate the adoptions and to upsell faster. If we focus on the sales engineering team, for instance, that will also be a great way to enhance the way we drive evaluations and we drive the value identification from the customer. So that will enforce specific requirements to help with more consistency, tailor the right evaluation plan, ultimately the right identification of the value, and build that together with the customer. For the customer success teams also, properly documented what is expected, properly documenting the trail to value, properly documenting the project plan, be very prescriptive with a customer, will position us as leaders into accounts, into the customers, into the accounts, to be even more, thought leaders for them and actual prescriptive leaders. So we can actually drive the continued momentum after closing the contract. Very often we drive the momentum in the pre-sales phase, and there is a bit of lag after we sign the contract. Working this way should increase the continuity and by momentum, having a very prescriptive way to onboard users, drive the adoptions, drive the value, and get shorter to some customer success by well-defined criteria. And for other teams like service partners and service and partners working together, it's about building a consistent approach on how those teams should work together. We all know that this is where we still have some fine-tuning work together. So in a project plan, in this trail to value, again, what should be carried on by Dataiku service team, whether versus what should be carried on with the partners. This is where we're going to improve this fine-tuning and be consistent and prescriptive again in front of the customer, whether Dataiku drives a project or a partner drives the project itself. So in summary, and I know that's a lot of message, but that is what they're also going. The same slides are going to be presented to the teams next week. Again, by forging those trails, we will really be able to have build this way of working, this mindset that with a better mapped role for the customer, a road for the customer, we would be more prescriptive, and the customer are ready to follow that path. Our customers are actually asking for Dataiku to come with a prescriptive plan and to show exactly how we're going to go from 0 to 1 value or 0 to value in a phase 1 before we move to the phase 2, before we move to the phase 3. So this is a very important way to drive our team and to drive our customer discussions to become replicable, scalable, and more predictable, and continue being a growth engine. So growth engine comes with providing the customer with the right experience and bring them to value as fast as possible at the end of the day. Matt, onto you to get into the details on how we're going to roll this out.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Gregory. And please, if anybody has any questions, please stop us as we're talking now, and don't have to save it to the end. But yeah, so as you can imagine, since the refresh, we've been hard at work, focused on building out a comprehensive enablement plan for the next 3 months, and obviously it will continue beyond and into Dataiku kickoff as well. But wanted to call out and focus on some of those key milestones that are happening over the next 3 months. So as Todd mentioned, a laminated 2-sided page is going to be sent out, and I believe 17th of October, that will be arriving in people's homes, which will be a great physical thing to keep when you're out in your meetings or with your teams. Please use these laminates and make sure that you digest the contents, and then at the moment, we're working on a manager coaching guide. So there was a first release in the newsletter, which is part 1, which is an overview. And then we've got a part 2 coming, which is a full interactive site, which I'll show you in a moment, a mock-up of what that's going to look like. And then obviously we've got then enablement starting from November the 6th with training dates. So let me advance and go on a bit more detail on that. So in terms of the key dates from here, the interactive site is going to be, we're aiming for Monday for a V1 version of that being live for you. Then we've got the training sets starting on November the 3rd, and then weekly enablement trail markers for each trail markers will start on November the 6th, and then every single week we'll take the next trail marker for the everyday enablement sessions. And these are the dates that you need to take a note of, and please make sure that your team's obviously attending all of these sessions. If they can't attend them live, then the recordings will be shared. Make sure that your individual contributors and your teams are watching and listening to the recordings, and then discuss in your team meetings, obviously, what that then means and how you can ensure that the trail markers and the non-negotiables are being implemented. So I mentioned about the two-sided laminate page. That's what's being sent out there. And then here is the coaching guide with a breakdown of, an overview of obviously the trail markers, the customer journey concept, and then a glossary also of all the non-negotiables and what the definitions are, from a data IQ perspective. What do we mean by each of the non-negotiables and which are the resources that are contributing towards them? And then I mentioned about the interactive site. So this is going to be a site where you'll be able to roll over and click onto each of the non-negotiables, and you will then get a card which will have what is the definition of that non-negotiable, what are the best practices and the gold standard examples, and we're going to get these across all of the regions as well. So you're going to have best practice examples. And if we don't have any, then obviously that's going to continue to build that out. So for some of the latter trail markers, not all this information will be complete from day one, but we're going to continue to build it and continue to develop it. And also there's going to be, how to position it, from a customer perspective, customer value, and then what is the internal value as well. So when you're coaching your teams, you can always focus on the value to them, what's in it for them, and how is it going to help improve, obviously deal progression and, faster upsell and adoption. And then what would be the objections, that would be coming back from the field as well, and also, internally and externally with being able to complete these non-negotiables and how to coach to those objections. So that's going to be coming to you soon, and we're excited for that rollout. Already shown you those dates there. So in terms of call to actions, to wrap up really, please take note of the following, call to actions. You need to clarify that the customer value journey concept with your teams is clearly understood, and what those trail markers, the 6 trail markers, how they all align to supporting the customer value journey. And the trail marker 3, where it's a win for us, it's a close. There's still 3 more trail markers that continue after that point to driving the overall customer value. So that's a really key point to make sure that you emphasize. And obviously the importance of every single go-to-market role and everybody's contribution towards supporting the customer value journey. Please review the coaching guide and ensure that you're prepared to support your teams and individual contributors. And obviously, ensure that your teams are attending the enablement training, starting obviously on Monday. Please make sure everybody attends that session, and then the weekly sessions starting November 6th, and make sure everyone's using all the available resources that we are producing as a team to ensure maximum success and maximum adoption of customer value journey and the non-negotiables. So with that, I will close the session and pass it over to you to see if you have any questions or if there's any comments that you'd like to make.
Looks like you've been very clear, Matt.
I hope so.
Quick question.
Take that silence that everyone understands, the key messages and obviously what we're implementing. And
hey Matt, it's David Morris here. You talked
hi,
about
David.
In ensuring our teams attend. This might be just a newbie question, but what do we get as leaders to identify team members who have been able to attend to recognize like adoption level or attendance levels?
I
can answer there. Yeah, we can share all those trail markers sessions. They will be coming from MindTickle. So people will sign up, everyone. So we'll tell you afterwards or even before if that's what the team wants. We can send like who has signed up and then afterwards who has attended. So we can definitely provide a report on that.
Thanks.
Thanks, David. Any more questions at all?
Just want to make
go ahead.
And just want to make a remark. And by now, I sincerely hope that we can consider that we all stack ends on this way of working. Again, it's not fundamentally new. I repeat myself, it's the way to document better, to document better, to train better, and to repeat the stuff that we have been doing well in the past. So by now we should all be in agreement, all on board. That's the way we should operate as one team, one go-to-market team. At the end of the day, it's a customer. I'm repeating myself. Sorry, it's a customer experience that we need to improve. It's a customer journey that we need to improve. There's no pre-sales and post-sales in the eyes of the customer. There is one dataiku, right? So if we want to help the customer drive value, get to value and stay with us and upsell with us, this is how we need to better execute. So if anyone has some disagreement or not ready to stack hands, raise your hand now or offline to address some concern, because we need to speak as one voice to our teams on the field.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you, Todd. Thank you, Gregory. Thank you, everybody, for attending.
If I can weigh in with just a question. My main question was that for me, after we've gone through this whole cycle, after stage 6, the customer enters a phase where they've received like initial value and they continue working on additional value through additional use cases. And to me, it feels like a proper stage, like a stage 7 step, maybe with dedicated deliverables. Or I was wondering, in this system, is it like a go back to stage 1, or should there be like a stage 7 coming maybe in a future model for this maintenance stage?
I think this is a great topic for the customer team leadership offsite next week.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if anybody else has any comments, but that's my thought.
I like that idea. Also, again, we're working on a few things. This will continue to evolve. Like which one non-negotiables would be for upsell motions versus initial land motions as well. So, but that was a really good, insightful question. And a shameless plea, it's so encouraging and so motivating when we've had people share the best practices, and as I like to say, the gold standards that are already out in the field, where it's getting hard to choose from some of them. But if you have any great examples, I always say put your equity hat on and please share those with the enablement team. We're looking for the best of the best for each one of the non-negotiables, and we're looking for ones that both come from the EMEA team as well as the Americas team and the APJ team. So if you and your teams have done some really great work in the past, which I know you have, please share those examples, those templates, those deliverables with the team, and we'll make sure that everyone can benefit from them.
Yeah, thanks, Todd. That's a good call out. Absolutely. Looking for those golden examples at the moment. So that'll now be a great time to be able to surface them. Okay. I'll give some time back in your day, and thank you very much for attending this session.
Have a good weekend,
Thanks
all.
all.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.
Thank you.
Thanks.